Are you a U.S. citizen who's curious about what life is like in a major Mexican city? Then stay tuned, because in this video I'm going to go over the food, healthcare, and transportation here in Guadalajara, Mexico's third largest city. If you're new here, my name is Jason. This is the Spend channel. SPEND, that's single parent, empty nester, digital nomad, where I help empty nest single parents ages 40 to 60 in the United States put together a game plan for relocating abroad. So let me tell you my story. I arrived here, Guadalajara, May 25th, with a simple goal, actually two goals: work on this YouTube channel and look for an English teaching job. I'm TEFL certified, came here with my retirement savings. I started looking for a job online and then offline at language schools here locally, and that didn't work out. I wasn't able to secure a position. If you want to know the details about that, I have that in another video. But here, first thing I'm going to do is talk about the food. If you're a foodie, Guadalajara is for you. There's so many different types of cuisines available. Obviously, you have some great Mexican food options. Street tacos, in my opinion, no trip to Mexico is complete without a visit to a street taco stand, and they're fantastic here. Also, this is the state of Jalisco where tequila was invented. Also, mariachi bands. You have so many different types of options. Besides Mexican food, you've got your traditional American staples like hamburgers and hot dogs. That's easy. Lots of pizza options available. I had Colombian food for lunch one time. I found a Uruguayan restaurant on Google Maps. Haven't gone there, but even Uruguayan food's available. There's sushi, there's Chinese food, steak houses, which that's kind of on the expensive side. Shoot, I think that covers everything. There's no shortage of food options here. You can go to if you have the means, you can go to a different restaurant every day and not get bored. And so, yes, well done, Mexico, on the food. Next topic is healthcare. You got a public health system and you got a private healthcare system. First, I'll talk about the public option. If you're not a resident or a citizen, then you're not eligible for the public system. That's IMSS and IMSABI. I have another video for healthcare. But if you want to come here as a tourist, like I am, you want to come with travel insurance. I have a travel medical insurance policy through Berkshire Hathaway that covers major medical, like heart attacks, strokes, major accidents, that kind of thing. Everything else I pay for in cash. My first line of defense are the local pharmacies. If you have like a skin rash, insect bite, stomach trouble, you go to a local pharmacy, like Farmacia Guadalajara, Farmacias Benavides, Farmacias Similares. You go there, and without an appointment, you see a doctor right then and there on the spot. You pay them 70, 80, 90 pesos, whatever it is, and they'll take your complaint and they'll write down their recommendation, what drugs you need to buy, and then you pay the doctor there, and then you go literally into the pharmacy and you give them the prescription or the list, whatever it is, and they will fill it for you right there, and it's paid for in cash. You could either pay in Efectivo, which is physical paper cash, or you could use your debit or credit card, either or. And I've used that system several times, and it's been very transparent and efficient, in and out in under an hour. Very, very user-friendly. I'm very happy with it. So that's my first line of defense. The next thing up from there is the La Cruz Roja Mexicana. That's the Mexican Red Cross. I used that system once in July of last year when I was a student here. It's like urgent care, and then you go there. Ideally, you want to get to La Cruz Roja early in the morning. That's when the lines are shortest. And you definitely need to know some Spanish, because there are barely any English speakers there, maybe one or two. Bring Google Translate if you're not very good with Spanish. And you pay an entrance fee to get in, and then they'll take your complaint. I thought I had Montezuma's Revenge. I drank orange juice from a street vendor in Tlaquepaque a couple of days prior to that, so I thought maybe that's what my problem was. So I was put in a bed. They put in an IV line and administered some IV drugs. I paid for those with my debit card. It was a few hundred pesos. And then after about 3 or 4 hours, they gave me a diagnosis. They said, you don't have Montezuma's Revenge. What you have is a fungal infection in your leg, which made sense because I had a sore on one of my toes on my right foot, and that apparently let fungus in, and it went all the way up my leg towards my groin. It was pretty nasty. My whole right leg was red and inflamed. I was limping when I was walking. It was a really bad problem, so I'm glad I saw them when I did. And so the diagnosis, they gave me some physical paper prescriptions, and then they checked me out. I had to pay an exit fee. And then I went to Pharmacia Guadalajara or Pharmacies Benavides, whichever local pharmacy it was, I don't remember specifically. Got my prescriptions filled. All told, the entire day, my medical care was 600 pesos. That's, I don't know, $35, $40 US, give or take, depends on exchange rates. But that was for an entire day of medical care. Very efficient, very transparent about the price. This is what you want, this is what you will pay. No copay bullshit, no deductible bullshit, no in and out of network bullshit, no pre-certification drama, none of that harassment and bureaucracy in the US. Now, there is a medical healthcare bureaucracy here in Mexico, of course, but it's so much easier and user-friendly here in my experience, from my experience as a Gringo tourist. I'm very happy with the medical care system, and that's just the public sector. For private healthcare, I have a medical concierge. Her name is Lori Payne. I'll put her description and her information in the description of this video. But she runs My Medical Concierge. She has a Facebook group. She's also available on WhatsApp. And that's another great thing about healthcare. Doctors, they all use, a lot of people here use WhatsApp. It's gospel here. Got to use WhatsApp. So you send her a message on either Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, and she will arrange for you to get an appointment. I needed a gastroenterologist for a problem I had. And so she hooked me up with a local gastroenterologist. He's in Zapopan, which that's a city to the west of Guadalajara. It's a pretty big city. And so I went to my appointment with my doctor in Zapopan, and Lori joined me. It was like having a friend, a trusted friend with you, or a family member. She asked him questions I didn't think of asking, and his English was perfectly good. The entire appointment was a full hour, from just getting to know me and my medical history. I used to have ulcerative colitis about over 20 years ago, and I had major surgery to correct it, to cure it. So he had to hear my history, and it was very unrushed, very casual. He had me on his table, did a physical exam of my stomach area, and he told me I needed follow-up care. And so through my medical concierge, he was able to get me an ultrasound appointment, which I attended a few weeks down the road. Oh, with the gastroenterologist, I paid when it was over. It was 1,000 pesos, 900 or 1,900 pesos. I forgot the price, but it was transparent. This is the service you got, a consult with a gastro specialist. This is the price you will pay. How do you want to pay, Efectivo or card? And I paid with my tarjeta. That means card. And so that was done, and then Lori got to work on getting me an ultrasound appointment, and that was at a lab. And that lab was within walking distance of my hostel room. I've been living in Colonia Americana, Lafayette area, and the lab I went to was on Avenida Mexico. So it was maybe a 15, 20-minute walk. I went in, I told them in Spanish what I was there for. I had the information about the appointment that was sent to me over email, in Spanish, of course, which, again, use DeepL or Google Translate if you have something in Spanish that you don't understand. It's easy. And so I went in, I checked in at the front desk. I think I paid either before or after the appointment was over. It was an ultrasound. It was expected to take over an hour. They were done in like 20, 30 minutes. And when it was over, I paid with my card. The payment amount they said it was going to be. No bullshit, totally transparent. And that was over, and then they sent the results of my ultrasound to my medical concierge and the doctor. And then I think I had another follow-up appointment with him down the road. Again, same easy, convenient, transparent, user-friendly experience. So if you have the means, use the private system. If you need specialized care, use the private system. But for ordinary common problems, bug bites, skin problems, stomach trouble, the flu, use the public healthcare system first. That's my honest advice. And so that's healthcare. Now I want to talk about transportation. Mexico, in my opinion, based upon personal experience, does public transportation much better than in the United States. I'll talk about the bus. The bus system here, it's complicated, and it's easy to take the wrong bus. But once you take the right bus, you'll get to where you're going pretty quickly and efficiently. It's 9.5 pesos per trip. What is that, 55, 60 cents US, something like that. You could pay either with coins, which are monedas, pay with coins, or you could buy a plastic card and then you just scan that when you get on the bus. And Google Maps is very helpful for getting you where you need to be. One thing about Google Maps, it's not 100% accurate, so it does make mistakes, but it's overall pretty reliable. And of course, you can always ask a local in Spanish, ¿Es este la línea 3? Line 3 is what I use to get to central part of Guadalajara from here, Colonia Americana. What I really like, though, is the light rail, the Metro light rail system. It's fantastic. Same price, 9.5 pesos. you can get from one end of Guadalajara to the other. You can go from the north end to the south end of the city, or go from northeast to south, or northwest to southeast, or vice versa, in like a half an hour. It's crazy fast. Sometimes it's above ground, sometimes it's underground, but it's really quick and efficient, and it's often very crowded because it's very popular. You've got commuters going to and from work, ordinary people running errands. But yeah, I can't say enough positive things about the Metro light rail system here. It's fantastic. The bus system, my only complaint is that it's confusing. It's easy to take the wrong bus. I've done it before. You'll survive. If it makes an unexpected turn, just get off and figure out where to go from there. You'll be okay, promise you that. So that's the public transportation system. Uber here is plentiful. Most of my trips around town have been less than $10. It's pretty efficient, although traffic can be pretty nasty, especially during rush hour. What do you expect from a city of 8 million people? When you take the city of Guadalajara, plus Zapopan, plus Tlaquepaque and Tonalá, Tlajumulco de Zuniga, that's a city south of here. When you factor in Guadalajara and all its suburbs, you're looking at about 7-8 million people. So it's big, very big city. Public transportation runs really well for a city this size. So that's that. So I talked about food, healthcare, transportation. I give them all 5 stars. Well done. As a tourist, I wasn't able to qualify for residency, so I did what I could and came here as a tourist with the goal of getting an English teaching job, which didn't work out. And so I need to leave the country. In fact, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm going to be flying from here, Guadalajara, to Cancun. We'll spend a night at a hotel there, and then I'm taking the Tren Maya from Cancun to Chetumal. That's in the southern portion of Quintana Roo. That's the easternmost state in the country. And then on the morning of November 1st, I'm going to walk into Belize on foot, cross into Belize on foot, and I will be in Belize for 4 weeks for the first time in 10 years. I visited Belize in 2015, had a great time there. Always wanted to come back. And so, yeah, I'll be in Belize for 4 weeks while waiting to hear from the U.S. government. I applied for a job with the U.S. Patent Office, and so I'm expecting an offer to come down in mid-November. So I'll be in Belize when that happens, and then at the end of November, I'm going to be taking a bus into Guatemala. I've never been to Guatemala before. I've got hostel reservations in Antigua, and there I'll be staying until I return to the U.S. if I get the job offer. If not, I'll remain in Guatemala up to 90 days, which I'll be authorized to do. And if I'm going to be in Guatemala that length of time, I'm going to be looking at volunteer work exchange opportunities through worldpackers.com or workaway.info, one of those two, to keep my cost of living down and find something rewarding to do, like volunteer work. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. So my advice to those U.S. citizens, gringos who want to move here, either on a permanent basis, which those are immigrants. If you're cutting ties with your former country with the intent to establish a new life in a new country, you're an immigrant. But if you're like me, you're only here part-time and you're going to be returning to your home country or moving onward to a different country, then in my book, you're an expat because your presence is temporary. You're going to be moving on or moving back. So that, I wanted to settle that debate. Anything else? Oh yeah, so in terms of advice for expats or immigrants, obviously you want to learn the language as best you can. If you're going to be traveling by yourself extensively in Mexico, you want to get to a B1 level in Espanol. That's lower level intermediate. You'll be proficient enough to handle most situations that come up when you travel. You could handle a basic conversation, provided that the other party paces themselves, and you might need them to repeat themselves, and you're working with a limited vocabulary, but it's good enough. You'll make a lot of mistakes, but they'll be able to understand you. You'll be able to get things done. So that's where, at B1, that's where the fun happens. If you're A1 or A2, it might be a bit too much for you, and you would need another person to help you out. It's based on personal experience. But yeah, learn the language, respect the culture. Culture refers to customs, traditions, routines, the way of life, the manana culture. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about safety concerns. My biggest safety concern is in crossing the street. Traffic here is kind of chaotic. My best advice to you is, in the US we have defensive driving. Well, here, practice defensive walking. Wait for traffic to clear before you cross the street. Even if you have a green light, yeah, you do have the right of way in a crosswalk, yeah, but people here don't want to stop if they don't have to. They'll squeak around you, go behind you, in front of you. It's just how it is. You're not going to change that. But be very careful. Look both ways, even if it's a one-way street, because somebody could be coming the wrong way on a bike or a scooter and it can hit you if you're not looking out. Also, this is a big thing. Cell phone theft is a thing here in Guadalajara. I've heard stories of people on motorcycles or mopeds just yanking cell phones straight out of people's hands when they're on a sidewalk. So don't be that person who's walking and talking because you're a sitting duck. Also, the sidewalks have a lot of problems like uproot, the tree roots will uproot a sidewalk, will cause a sidewalk to pop up, and so that's a tripping hazard. A lot of sidewalks have weird holes in them. You could get your ankle caught in one and trip and fall, potentially break an ankle, which case you'll be using the public health care system. But still, that's not a way you want to do it. So practice situational awareness at all times when you're walking, especially when you're walking, crossing the street, if you're on a sidewalk. Be extra diligent, maybe give yourself a few extra minutes to get where you're going. Use Google Maps, but don't be glued to your cell phone either. You got to watch where you're going. That's very important. For the aforementioned reasons of either cell phone theft or just tripping and falling. So yeah, it's Mexico, wonderful country. I've been here quite a bit. I've visited 5 different states: Sonora, Sinaloa, Baja California Sur, Jalisco, Mexico City, and on my way to Belize, I'll be passing through Quintana Roo. So that's, 7 states. I've seen quite a bit of this country, but to be totally honest with you, my knowledge of this amazing country just scratches the surface. It's a cultural powerhouse. The food is fantastic. The people are very friendly and chill, except when they're driving. They just want to get where they're going. Traffic is designed for efficiency and flow. So if you're stopping both ends of traffic to cross the street in a crosswalk, that's a disruption to the flow of traffic. That's probably how the locals see it, although I don't want to speak for anyone here. I'm not a local, I'm not a citizen, not even a resident, just a humble tourist. But I've honestly enjoyed my time here. I would not have been here 5 months if I didn't like it. There's so much to offer. My Spanish continues to improve all the time. And I think with that, I will wrap up this video. So thank you for watching. Again, my name is Jason, the Spend Channel, single parent, empty nester, digital nomad, where I help empty nest single parents ages 40 to 60 in the US build a game plan for relocating abroad. And that's that. I'm signing off, and any information in this video, I'll have links in the description below. Thanks again for watching. Take care. We'll see you in the next one.